Alright y'all, welcome back. I hope everybody had great holidays, and I did also. So today we're going to do a review on this DeWalt electric chainsaw. This is a 20 volt chainsaw. Previously I had a Stihl MS-170, and I bartered that with a buddy of mine who I knew would use it more than I did. And I really didn't need a big chainsaw, so I bartered him that for some services, and I went and picked this one up. This is just a 20 volt. They do make the flex volt. Is it a 60 volt? Which is a much larger one. I think that one has a 16-inch bar. This one only has a 12-inch bar. I've never used one of these before, but I do have DeWalt batteries and DeWalt tools. Before we get into it too far, I guess we'll kind of read a little bit of what the box says here. So it's a 12-inch bar. It says the chain speed is 25.2 feet per second. And it weighs 8.1 pounds. Chain pitch is 3/8. Gauge is 0.043. Now it says somewhere that, yeah, here it says up to 90 cuts per charge on a 4x4 inch piece of pressure treated wood. Now that is using a DCB 205 battery, which I'm assuming the 205 is a 5 amp battery, 5 amp hour battery. And the largest battery that I have is a 4 amp hour. This is a DCB 204. I do have a couple 3.5 or 3 amp hour batteries, but I think I will probably pick up a 5 amp hour battery. But today we're going to pop this thing out of the box, take a look at it, and then we'll head down to my local brush pile and we'll see how much wood we can cut and collect for firewood with this saw with one battery. I'm not going to go down there and start cutting up big logs. I'm looking for just hunks that wouldn't need to be split necessarily, that I can use directly in the fire. More of the smaller branches and stuff like that. But why don't we pop this guy open here and see what it is all about. This is a tool only. It does not come with a charger or a battery. And it was $179 at my local Baumgars. The larger saw with the 60 amp hour battery, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's 60 amp hour, or the 60 volt, not 60 amp hour, was about twice the price. However, that did come with a battery and the charger. But it is also a much larger saw, and like I said, I don't think I need it that big. So, nothing in there. You got an instruction booklet. And I think that's it, other than the saw itself. That's all that's in the box. Here. And there you go, there's the saw. It does have a cover on the blade here. And if you can see that. You do have your kickback switch, just like a normal chainsaw would have. It even kind of shows you that down there. The one thing that I didn't necessarily care for, because I am left-handed, is that you have a trigger safety lock switch right there. If you can see that, you have to have that pushed down in order to pull the trigger. So basically, it's made for a right-handed person to push with their thumb and pull the trigger. It would be really nice if that was an ambidextrous thing. It's not a big deal, I can cut right-handed, but I am left-handed, so I would typically like to hold it like this, which makes it just a smidgen more difficult. That's just a personal complaint there. Let's see, on this side, you have, it looks like chain tension. I'll have to actually take a look at this. I think it's toolless chain tension. And then, I don't know if this is speed or what. I'll have to take a look at that also. And on this side, you have oil. And crap, I gave my bar and chain oil to my buddy, so I'm gonna have to stop at the hardware store and get some bar and chain oil. And this should pop out like so. I'm gonna go ahead and put that blade cover back on before I end up cutting myself. On here, your bar and chain oil, you do have a sight here so that you can see, but this folds flat. This is all kind of toolless stuff, and then you can pop that open and you should be able to unscrew it then, or it just unlocks, and that's held on, and you pop it back in there, lock it back down, and flip that closed. The battery connects back here on the back end like so, and that does help even out the weight of the saw a bit. We'll go ahead and we'll just do a quick test hit on this thing and see what it does, and then we'll run to the store, we'll get some bar and chain oil, we'll make sure our adjustments are set correctly. Why don't I look and see what those actually are before I go pushing any buttons, huh? Okay, so this is the bar adjustment locking knob, and this is the chain adjustment locking knob, or chain tension, I guess. and it's all meant to be toolless. I think that just locks in that way. And that definitely tightens it up a bit. So we'll get our stuff set here appropriately. Why don't we just give it a little buzz here. That seems like it should work well. I'm gonna go ahead and throw a tarp in the back of the truck. We'll go get some bar and chain oil, and we'll see how many pieces of wood we can cut with one 4-amp-hour battery on here. Alright, so I picked up some bar and chain oil from the local hardware store, and we're going to go ahead and dump some of that in there. And there we go. I have no idea how much I'll be able to cut, so I think that should be good. Alright, so we're going to start cutting. We've got some smaller stuff here that's going to cut well. There's pieces back there, and this is all free for the taking. We've got some decent sized pieces there, like that's a perfect chunk of wood, and some of this stuff. So we're just going to get after this and see what it can cut. We'll start right over here. Through there, come on. That's it, battery's done. Well, we've got quite a bit of wood. There's a couple rows of it, but let's run home, let's get this unloaded so you guys can see how much we've actually got on here, and I'll give you guys my final thoughts on this saw.
here's all the wood I got. Don't pay attention to that. That's from the farm. I just picked that stuff up when I picked up my ice shack, which is sitting right there. And I've got a lot more of that to collect from the farm, but this is what we were able to do with one 4 amp-hour battery on that little saw. And these are all at least 12 inches long. Some of them are a little bit longer, but that's I'm fairly impressed by that and really satisfied with that.
Okay, so we were able to cut a decent amount of wood for one battery, and the fact that I have 3 batteries, although they're not the large ones, I could have continued cutting for quite a while. Like I said, I do plan to grab a larger battery. I do believe that the 60, like the Flex Volt, the large batteries, you can run that stuff on these smaller 20 volt tools. They are backwards compatible. But for the size of this, the ease of use, I am incredibly satisfied. I no longer have to worry about having another motor in the garage that I have to service with a gas 2-stroke chainsaw like the Stihl that I had. My biggest complaint, and I said it immediately before I even started using it, is the fact that the thumb safety trigger is only set up for a right-handed user. It would be nice to see DeWalt put that on either side of the handle, or maybe just a top-mounted thumb trigger up here instead of it being on the side like it is. But really, that is the only complaint that I have. You could comfortably carry this around in your rig if you were doing some, pretty extreme camping or overlanding and were worried about trees in your path, or if you just wanted to take this to your campsite. If you can collect wood legally at that campsite, this would be a great tool to have. It's not super loud. It's nice that it's only running when you're pulling the trigger. But that also brings another point, is that it does take a little bit of getting used to, because there's really no progressive throttle. It's on or off. So if you throttle down like you might do that with a gas one, it's just going to stop. But it also means that the blade stops as soon as you take your finger off the trigger, very, very quickly anyways. But overall, I am incredibly satisfied with this tool for the price. I'm not at all missing my gas one. I know that all I have to do is plug in a battery to this thing and it's going to work. I will pick up another chain for this just so I have an extra on hand, and I may try to see if I could find a nice case for this. I think really all I would need to do is get a small toolbox that this could set down inside of. You could have your bar and chain oil, and you could have an extra battery and a battery charger in there if you needed it. And like I have an inverter in the truck that I could plug a battery charger into, so I can charge on the go. If you had 2 or 3 batteries, you could probably be cutting non-stop with something like this and not have to worry too much about it. I filled that oil tank full and I used about half of the oil. You guys may not be able to see that. Oh yeah, you can see. You can see there. And I had that thing, as far as I know, that thing was completely full. So it uses a little bit of oil. You can tell that it was oiling the chain very well. We didn't get much stretch in it. Still about an 1/8 inch of play. But it's not so powerful or so strong that it's probably going to do a crazy amount of chain stretching with this thing. But I'm going to go ahead and close this video out, guys. If you were thinking at all about an electric chainsaw, I would recommend this one. All the other major tool manufacturers, like DeWalt, Makita, Milwaukee, etc., I believe they all have electric battery operated chainsaws. As far as I know, DeWalt only has 2 different sizes. This is the smaller one with the 12-inch bar and a 20-volt battery. But if you have any of the batteries already for any of these tool manufacturers that make an electric chainsaw and you're thinking about it, I would say definitely go for it. It's well worth it. But I'm going to get this firewood probably restacked in the backyard, but I need to do some cleaning up back there. I need to stack that wood from the farm back there, and I will be collecting a bunch more wood this coming weekend when I'm headed back up there. But stay tuned for the next video, because we're going to get out and do some camping. And that's about it, y'all. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay tuned for the next adventure. I'll see you in a bit.